You're listening to Both Sides of the Front Porch. Two Southern voices, two different perspectives, one real conversation. Pull up a chair. It's real talk, y'all.
Hey y'all, I'm Tammy.
And I'm Edward. And
we are both sides of the front porch.
Hey girl, hey.
Hi, how are we?
Fantastic. Can you believe this is our very first official episode of Both Sides of the Front Porch?
After so many weeks of planning and all the things that go into this, it was just so much.
I know.
It's so worth it to finally be here.
I know, it's a lot of work. People just don't, I guess, understand, including me, how much work it is to put all this together.
Right.
And we're still working behind the scenes every day to do all the behind the scenes stuff, the website, the YouTube, all the social channels. So it was a lot, but we are so excited to finally be bringing our first episode to everybody.
Hi guys, I'm Tammy.
And I'm Edward, and welcome to Both Sides of the Front Porch.
Yes, so excited.
So something I was thinking about today is, who are we? Why would somebody want to watch and listen to the two of us who are in the podcasting world, kind of nobodies?
Right, brand new.
Right. Why would we even think that starting a podcast would be a good idea?
Because we're going to bring so many ideas from the front porch, both sides of the front porch, because we do come from very different areas. I'm big city, you're a small town, and I just think that you bring so many different ideas, and you're just going to get all the things from both sides of views.
And I think that you and I both just enjoy communicating with people. We love to talk. We enjoy just telling stories. And
that gift of gab with that cute little
I know, right?
In it.
I just think that with that and combining our personalities together, it's like, why not start one?
Exactly.
If we can help one person or make one person laugh, I just think it would be a good thing to do, right?
They may be laughing one day, they may be crying. You just never know what you're going to get.
Exactly. If you are from the South or have ever sat on a front porch in the South, you know that that's where the truth really comes out.
Exactly. I remember many times my girlfriend calling me and she'd be like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, I'm fine. "Do you need a front porch session?" I'm like, "No, I don't think so. Not today. I think I'm good. But if I need that session, I'll definitely give you a call."
It's a Southern thing for sure. I think front porches are really big in the South. And on the front porch, you can tell secrets. You can talk drama, give advice. You can cuss.
Definitely.
You can kind of let it all out and feel comfortable knowing that it's on your front porch.
Exactly. Because what goes on the front porch stays on the front porch, of course.
Right. So I'm really excited about it. And, obviously this is episode number 1. So we have so many more episodes that we're bringing to you, and we're letting it all out. We're not holding anything back. And I think that's what's going to make our podcast different. And because that's the one thing I kept asking myself is, what is this podcast going to bring differently than other podcasts? You and I both have been just watching so many different podcasts.
I know. When we came up with the idea, and of course it was another one of those ideas that we're just like, oh,
why don't we do this?
I'm just like, okay, I'm on board. Tell me what to do.
And I'm 100 miles a minute, and the way I am is I don't like to half-ass do anything, So if I'm going to do it, I want to give it 100%.
Right.
And I know this is not the perfect studio setup, but I think it looks good for our first podcast.
I'm going to call this our
studio. Well, it is our studio.
Yes,
of course it is.
Yes.
We have a lot to learn. I'm not going to be naive about that. I don't know everything about podcasting, but I do know I've read a lot. You and I have researched and done a lot of work on podcasts.
All the research.
Yeah. I think our motto has been, nothing's off limits. This is real talk,
right. Real talk.
Yeah.
And as we get into things, and you'll see that we have a website and we have all the social media platforms and all the things. And if there's something that you want us to talk about, to where you can get my side of the story, his side of the story, then definitely reach out to us because we'd love to discuss what you want to hear as well.
Yeah, we actually just launched our website. So you can go to frontporchbs.com, and we've kind of shortened everything to the Front Porch BS. And BS can stand for both sides, or it can stand for bullshit. You know, we got a lot to talk about. And we're getting new chairs, by the way. That's just, I don't know, FYI. I'm so self-conscious of my posture.
Right.
So I hate slouching over, and these are the most uncomfortable, expensive chairs I've ever had. I don't know why they would cost so much, but they hit right in the center of your back.
Weird.
So we're gonna have cute chairs coming next week.
So tune in because you'll get to see the new chairs on the porch.
Right. So I wrote this little thing. We're so excited to start the podcast, and we started it because we're two friends who see life from different sides. And I love that. I'm gay, you're straight, male, female, serious and crazy. But at the end of the day, we kind of both meet in the middle and value each other's opinion.
Absolutely.
And I think that's important. We need more of that today rather than disagreeing and hating each other. Let's just listen to each other. We may not agree. Let's laugh, cry, love each other. And at the end of the day, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Everybody's got an opinion.
In the middle. Exactly.
Less fighting, more talking, more listening, and more porch time.
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's get into it and get a little more deep. We're going to talk to you about ourselves and where we're from and kind of a little bit about our background. So for those watching or listening that don't know us, I was born and raised in a small, when I say small town, I mean, it was tiny. Right now, it's Woodruff, South Carolina, which is upstate Greenville, Spartanburg area. I just went under the U.S. Census Bureau, and there's 4,300 people that live in this little small podunk town right now in 2025 or 2024 census. When I was growing up there in the 90s, going through school in the 90s in Woodruff, South Carolina, the population was 2,400. And we had 3 traffic lights and 1 grocery store, 1 convenience store. I mean, it was small. And imagine growing up in a super duper small town, and my mom and my dad divorced when I was about 12. My mom was a single parent, working 2 jobs to take care of her 3 kids. I have an older sister and a younger sister growing up. And feeling like you were the only gay person in the entire world.
Out of 4,000 people.
No, 2,300 people.
2,300. You're the only one.
You know, that's how you feel when you're in such a small town. And
Yeah.
I didn't know anybody else that acted like I did or that even remotely seemed to understand me and my feelings at the time. I can remember growing up, my dad would be out in the front yard throwing football with my 2 sisters, and I would be in the kitchen sitting there at the table watching my mom cook, wanting to know what she's doing.
Right.
And I never really felt like I had a relationship with my dad, and almost like I didn't even have a dad. And that's bad to say because I did have a dad, but we just didn't have a relationship. I mean, even before he and my mom divorced, we didn't have a relationship at all.
And that's another difference in us because my parents were married forever.
Yeah.
So I never had that situation where I have to go with dad, have to go with mom. We were always together.
Listen, I didn't have the situation where I had to go with dad and mom because when my mom and my dad divorced, my dad went batshit crazy almost, and literally we were with my mom 24/7.
Right.
You know, so 2 siblings growing up, and then I struggled through high school, through middle school, high school, all of schooling, but in middle school and high school, kids are just so evil. Yeah. They're so mean, and bullying was real. To the point to where I thought several times about how can I end this? How can I get out of this cycle of every single day going to school being bullied? I can remember walking down the hallway, and not only was I gay and feminine acting, I wasn't flamboyant, but I had feminine qualities. I can remember going to school, walking down the hallway, and guys would just walk by me, even girls would just walk by me and knock my books out of my hand. They would spit on me. They would call me a gay rod, a faggot, a queer, you know, all the names. And what could I do? Absolutely nothing. I was super duper skinny, like 60 pounds, 65 pounds. So skinny, gay, and I had 0 friends in school. I would go to the lunchroom to have lunch, and I'd have to get my tray and walk around this huge, ginormous lunchroom.
Where everybody's looking.
Everybody's looking. And I'm trying to find a seat away from everybody because I couldn't sit with anybody else. When I did, get away from me, you faggot. So I couldn't sit with anybody at lunch. So I'm a loner. I'm sitting by myself. My grades suffered because I would go in class. And when you would go in class, you have those little school desks that's got the wooden top, you know? And I would get in the desk. Nobody would sit by me. They would push my desk away. So I would find the desk furthest from anybody. So it was horrible, absolutely horrible growing up. And when I almost graduated, I decided to leave Woodruff and move to Greenville, South Carolina. You're familiar with Greenville?
Yeah, a little bit.
We'll talk about that maybe.
Maybe.
So anyway.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. So anyway,
I have been to Greenville a time or two. It's a nice city.
It is. It has grown tremendously since I left there in 2004. It's grown significantly. But when I moved to Greenville back in 94, 95, whenever it was, I felt like I had moved to Chicago or to, New Orleans or to...
It's so big compared to your small town.
Yeah.
Got it.
It was super duper big, and I was like, oh my gosh, more progressive, more people that acted like me, and gay bars and clubs, and I was like, where am I? So I really felt more at ease. Not to say that the hate was completely eliminated, because, you still ran into that, but after I moved to Greenville, everything shifted at that point. And in 1998, I met a guy named Scott. I was at a gay bar in Greenville, South Carolina. And I don't know if anybody remembers this, if you're listening, but it was called the 621 or the 9. 6 plus 2 plus 1 is 9.
Okay.
So the 621, and they were having a underwear party where you go out to the club in underwear. I don't know.
I've never been to a straight party where we're all in our panties.
Tammy, you are missing out.
Oh goodness, no. I'm the wallflower. I love to go out. Like I might do a little partying this weekend in Athens, Georgia. Don't know yet.
Never been to Athens.
Haven't put on that one yet, but I can honestly say I've never been to a club where I wore just my panties.
Well, these were boxers. I went out and bought some $100 bill silk boxers.
Yeah.
And had a little wife beater t-shirt thing on. And when I walked into the club, I saw this guy across the bar. And at the time, I was in a relationship with someone, had a boyfriend. Yeah. Gosh, I even remember his name. At least his first name. His name was John. And at the time, Scott...
So was this like your first official boyfriend?
No. This guy named Brandon was my first official boyfriend. I'll have to talk about that in another episode. I'll talk about all that later. But anyway, it was just kind of like a little boyfriend kind of thing. It wasn't a real relationship.
Right.
But anyway, I saw Scott, and Scott ended up hooking up with my best friend at the time. So him and Patrick got together, went home together that night, did the thing and all that. And then the next weekend, I was still dating John. Went out to the club, and who's out at the club again? Scott.
But you had clothes on this time?
I had clothes on. So he saw me in clothes.
Very good.
Exactly. So the second weekend, still dating John, and Scott was there again. Now, Scott typically would not have been my type, but I don't know what it was. Something drew me to him. He was wearing a Jeff Gordon ball cap, a Jeff Gordon t-shirt, jeans, drove a jacked up Ford F-150. But anyway, the second weekend, he hooks up with my roommate. He goes home with my roommate. So the third weekend, went out every damn weekend, you partying, Scott's out at the club again. So that weekend, I hadn't broken up with John. Our relationship was over, and Scott and I got together that weekend. And we just started talking, and I found out that he lived in Hendersonville, North Carolina, which is just south of Asheville, North Carolina, and was not out of the closet. He was still in the closet. None of his family, friends, nobody knew that he was gay. And he was driving all the way from Hendersonville, North Carolina to Greenville, South Carolina to be gay and go to the club so that nobody would find out, so they wouldn't be outed.
Right.
So
we just getting that Ford F-150 and down the mountain he'd come into Greenville, South Carolina.
Exactly. So anyway, fast forward to 2004. Well, I'm sorry. Scott and I got together in 1998. I'm trying to remember the date. Scott and I got together in 1998. We literally moved in with each other after 3 months of dating. 3 months later, we're living together. And we spent every single night together from 1998 until probably 2006 when I had to go out of town for work.
Oh, wow.
So Scott and I got together, moved in, became a couple. I told him I loved him probably within 4 months of us being together.
Right.
Madly, deeply in love, head over heels.
You were finally finding who
Right,
you are.
right.
And
And
finding your way.
yeah. And Scott came out to his dad and all of his family. 6 months with us being together, he went back home and told all of his family because they thought he was screwed up on drugs or something because he was never at home anymore. And so he told him about me, and that was a big deal for him, living in Hendersonville, North Carolina, having girlfriends all of his life. He was 28 years old when we got together. Nobody knew or even suspected that he was gay. Now me, they knew I was gay. Scott, they had no idea. So we've been together from 96, and 2004, we decided to move to Atlanta. At the time, my best friend and his boyfriend were moving to Atlanta for work. And Scott and I was like, why don't we just move with them? We had no jobs, didn't have any place to live. And they said, well, you guys can all live together. So they found this 3,000 square foot house in Atlanta on 11th Street, right behind the Midtown Fire Station.
Right.
And all four of us moved into the house, but me and Scott didn't have jobs. So we literally moved to Atlanta, lived here for probably, I don't know, a month or so, a couple months before we found jobs. And I guess the rest is history. We've been in Atlanta since 2004. And
Did you move to Atlanta in the Ford F-150?
Girl, no, honey. We had I had an Xterra. I think it was.
Oh, okay.
No. When we first moved to Atlanta, I still had my Ford Mustang convertible. We moved from Hendersonville, North Carolina to Atlanta, and I still had my Ford Mustang convertible, and I couldn't get out of Hendersonville, North Carolina fast enough. Now, we had a cute house, and I think it was 3 or 4 acres in Hendersonville, North Carolina, but you're talking about country as corn, girl. We lived on a dirt road, and if it would rain, I couldn't drive my car down the road because the bitch would get stuck in the mud.
That Ford didn't have four-wheel drive, did it?
No, ma'am. The people that lived behind us in the subdivision behind us, they would drive by. I'm out there cutting grass in my cute little shorts, honey, sunglasses on. They would ride by. Faggot.
Oh, Lord. So that followed you into North Carolina.
Followed us into North Carolina. And then, of course, Scott being my husband, well, we weren't husbands at the time, but being my partner and trying to protect me, he goes back there to the house behind us to confront those guys. And it's like, we shouldn't have to live like this. So, like, why don't we move with our best friends to Atlanta? It's obviously more open.
Yeah.
The gay community is this is the mecca of the gay community in the South. Why don't we
We're
move?
going to Atlanta.
Right? It's like Tu Wong Fu, honey. The movie Tu Wong Fu. So we loaded everything up, and our house in Hendersonville, North Carolina sold within a week. We're like, oh my God, this is real. So within a week, our house sold. We were loading stuff up and moving to Atlanta. And we've been here since 2004. And I couldn't be happier. I feel like Atlanta is my home.
Yeah.
And I think I feel that way a lot because of the opportunities Atlanta has given me, the friends that we've made along the way, and me just finding my way being gay and successful, having a great career, and just feeling like I belong. And in the community, I think we just feel like we belong now. So, and there's so much that's kind of happened in between all that. That was a real quick synopsis.
Was the condensed version.
It really was. So there's so much more to talk, including a non-traditional relationship that I'm in.
Yeah.
We'll go into detail about that and talk about Chris as well. I love him. So there's so much more for you all to find out about me. But Tammy, now the floor is yours, my love.
The floor is all mine. So let me enter. So I'm from Atlanta, born and raised in a small little city outside of Atlanta. So I was more in the suburb. Scottsdale.
Scottsdale.
Yeah.
Okay, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it's right. Do you know where like DeKalb Medical is? It's right there. It's like in between Clarkston, Avondale, Scottsdale.
So it was like kind of like the country, right?
No, it was big city.
Oh.
Yeah, it was but it was small. But I mean, I graduated from an Atlanta school.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I came from a 2-parent household. My daddy's a preacher. My mom was a minister. She ministered in the community.
Now, hold on a second. When you say your dad was a preacher and your mom was a minister, what's the difference between a preacher and a minister? Excuse me, y'all. I asked that question, and some of y'all might think he's dumb, but I'm just not very really.
So my mom was a minister. She ministered to like the elderly. She ran a lot of stuff in the church as far as like when we would have vacation Bible school.
Well, what's the difference between a minister and a preacher?
Why you put me on the spot? You're going to edit this out, right?
No, Miss
So
Preacher
my
Girl.
daddy was an ordained minister. He was the pastor of the church.
So he's kind of like ordained minister means kind of you've gone
Well,
through
my
the
mom was
official.
an ordained minister too. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, you have like an ordination all the things.
The difference then is he is in front of a church and like preaching to the congregation every Sunday, and she's not. She's kind of going out ministering to the community.
Yeah. She would occasionally speak in church, whatever. But my dad became the pastor of my church. I think I was 12 when, because we had moved from Clarkston back to Scottdale to where he was literally born on the property. The church, we shared a driveway with the church. Everything was right there. Raised in church.
So y'all lived on the property where the church was at.
Yeah. So like my house was here, the church was here.
It's a parsonage, right?
No, it's not a parsonage. That was my daddy's mama's home.
Oh.
Yeah. It was
so
just
it was
a whole
family
thing.
home.
Yeah.
Was
Family
the church?
Yeah.
So it was like your own private church.
No, it was open to the community, but it was a lot of family. Like my ancestors literally built the church.
Wow.
Yeah, and then the house and all the things. But
so that's all you ever know.
That's all I ever knew. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But now when I was younger, we lived in Douglasville for a while. I lived all over Atlanta. College Park, East Point, Douglasville, Clarkston, Scottdale, and always in church. When my mom was always in church, my dad didn't really get in church until my brother was born, and then we all went to church together as a family. And eventually my dad took over the church, started pastoring, and I want to say I was in 7th grade. Yeah, I was in 7th grade, moved, and then that's where my parents lived, went to church, all the things up until 2016 when my mother passed away in 2016. But before that, I didn't have, I wasn't the party girl because we were in church constantly. Friday night I was singing somewhere, Saturday night we was singing somewhere, Sunday back to church, Wednesday night in church. I mean, it was always something. Yeah. So we were really big in the church. And then I got married really young. I had children. I just turned 17. Okay. Yeah, I was still in high school. So I graduated married. Yeah.
Now,
but anyway.
What did mom and dad say about you getting married so
young? That was a discussion. And it was just going to be. My mom was like, oh no, she cannot do this. She's not even out of high school. And dad was like, well, you know how she is. If we don't sign for it, we went to the courthouse and my parents had to sign for me to get a marriage license. Yeah, I was that young. Wow. I had kids right away. I went to work. Before I graduated high school though, I went to work at the sheriff's department here in the city. When I dispatched on the weekends, and then when I graduated high school, I transferred into the jail, worked in the jail division for many years. Then when my second child was born, I stayed home. I was really, really fortunate. I was able to stay home with her. And then when my baby went to kindergarten, first grade, kindergarten, then I went to work for 911.
Gotcha.
But I had moved out of Atlanta out to far away, out into the country.
And so you've had 3 marriages.
Yes. I've been married 3 times.
Okay. I'm single.
I'm happily single, yeah, living that Atlanta life, doing my thing, very happy with who I am, because it took many years to figure out who I am. Yeah. Because forever I was either somebody's wife. I was, my mom is Cookie, my dad's Kenneth. I was Cookie and Kenneth's daughter, and then I was always somebody's wife. Now I know who I am.
I love that.
Yeah, I took an early retirement from 911, traveled for a while, and then I knew a girl who works where we work, but she had worked with me for just a minute at 911, and she called me. She's like, Miss Tammy, the Buckhead office is hiring. I was like, girl, give me the email address. Where do I send my resume? Sent my resume in, and then here I am.
Well, that brings us to our next.
Love it.
Yeah, that brings us to our next point. I mean, you and I met. We work together.
Yeah.
I'm the director of operations at the office, and Tammy leads our call center. And it's a medical practice, and we have multiple locations, and it's busy.
It's very busy.
Very busy. And
Yeah.
Tammy and I met, you've been there 2 years?
2.5 years almost, yeah.
We met at the office and immediately just connected. And
Definitely.
Tammy has another business called Pure and Simple Creations by Tammy,
I do.
where she makes candles and soaps and
scrubs and blankets.
all the things. And then
All the things.
me being an entrepreneur, I'm like, Tammy, please teach me how to make the candles. I'm like, I'm going to start a candle business too. And rather than
Hold on,
looking...
back up for just a second. This is how it happened, actually. So I had come into the office because somebody had ordered a candle from me.
Mm-hmm.
And you were like, oh, come here. And so into your office, I'm like, am I in trouble? Did I do something wrong? So I go in your office and you're like, you make candles? And I was like, yes. And you were like, teach me everything. And I was like, okay.
And I had no idea why I even thought I would like making candles. But I go out and I spend all this money on all the jars, the wick, the wax, the fragrance oils, the burner thing. I mean, like, a lot of money, and start making these candles. And Tammy will be the first to tell you, well, not the first to tell you, but one to tell you that I have no patience.
And I'm like, Edward, slow down.
It's
You
a
don't
lot.
even know if you want to pour a candle yet.
It's a lot to make candles. I'll just say, don't try it unless you really know you want to do it. It's a lot of work. So finally, I started making candles and did that for a couple of weeks. And then I called Tammy one day, or texted her. I'm like, girl, come get all this candle stuff. You can have it. I don't want it. I can't do it.
Yeah, he was like, happy birthday, because it was
Right,
at my
exactly.
birthday. And he was like, happy birthday. And I was like, all right, I will take it off your hands. But
So anyway, so we kind of
you
just...
want to talk about a lot of research.
Oh,
That
okay.
is
Oh, I
a
know.
lot of
Trust me.
research.
Yeah, too much.
Because you think, oh, I'm just going to throw this wick in this jar and pour me some wax up
It's
in
not
it.
that easy, trust me. And then
It's
after you make the
definitely a
candle,
science.
you have to test it, or whatever you
Oh,
call
yeah.
it. Test it and just sit there and let it burn, see how many hours it will burn for. And I'm like, why are we doing this?
How does the wick burn? Is it going to be...
And you can't cut the wick
bouncing?
until this amount of time ago. I cut my wick 2 hours. I'm like, I'm going to cut the wick. And
I was like, no, you're going to move the wick. Don't cut the wick. Trim the wicks yet. It was great.
So we met at work and immediately created this bond and
Mm-hmm.
started talking. And one day after the candle venture, I really been talking about doing a podcast for a long time and talking to my husband Scott about doing it. And Scott's my biggest cheerleader. He's, oh, sure, go for it. So I told Tammy, I'm like, I want to do this podcast. Would you be interested in doing it? Because we are giving both sides of different topics
Definitely.
that's kind of, important, I think, to have both sides. So Tammy, of course, agreed to do it. Sure, what do I need
Yeah,
to do?
just let me know where to be. What time?
So that's what brings us to the podcast is, just two people who really respect each other and respect each other's opinions for the most part.
Definitely.
I will listen to your opinion. I will hear your opinion. I'm not going to say that I respect it because if it's crazy and something that's discriminative or whatever, I'm not going to respect something like that. But I'll listen and then I'll give you my opinion back.
Exactly. And I'll listen. I will always listen. I'm like, okay,
Right.
there's that.
Well, now here we are, not sitting on the front porch, but what we consider our porch talk.
Our porch
Telling the
talk.
truth, spilling the tea, laughing at the chaos, and just trying to make life a little lighter for somebody that's listening and thinking, I can't do this, or the bullying is too much for me. Take it from me, somebody who went through bullying severely, you can do it. And there's people that you can talk to, and I know you were even bullied. We'll talk about it in another episode.
Definitely.
But we just want to help people. And I know right now, to begin with, this is our first episode. We're not going to have many listeners or followers, but if we just have one person that hears something that we say that they laugh at or that helps them, then hey, I think we've done what we wanted to do.
Yeah, definitely. You at least want to reach one person.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. So moving on, we are going to do a segment from time to time, if not weekly, called Spilling the Tea. And Spilling the Tea is going to be pop culture-ish topics. And the first topic to talk about, this was just all over the news this past weekend. Kim Kardashian fails her bar exam. I'm like, first of all, why are you going to blast a girl like that, honey? You know,
That is media bullying.
poking fun of her, which, listen, I went to real estate school, and at the time I was going to real estate school, I was working with this lady who was an attorney, and she was like, real estate school is this. I had to learn this stuff in law school, and law school is super hard, and real estate was super hard, so I'm not doing it. But anyway, none of my ventures.
Okay, next.
Okay, next. So anyway, I mean, it's hard. So just calling her out and shaming her for failing the bar exam, I thought was kind of crazy. But here's my question. Would you trust Kim Kardashian as your attorney? Let's just say she passes the bar exam, she becomes an attorney, you had something legal happen to you, and you had the opportunity to hire anybody you wanted to hire as your attorney. And Kim Kardashian was one of those in the mix. Would you feel comfortable hiring her as your attorney? Would you feel like she would be serious, or do you think people would take her serious? What's your thought on that?
I think I would definitely hire her to be my attorney. I mean, she commands a room when she walks in, first of all. Yeah. So people are going to be like, let me listen to what she has to say.
Absolutely.
So, I mean.
Well, she's super smart.
Yeah.
I mean, she is an amazing entrepreneur, businesswoman. She has recently gotten into prison reform. She worked with Alice Johnson to help get a pardon out of prison because Alice Johnson was sent to prison for years, never had a criminal record for selling marijuana. And she was sent to prison for years. Black woman, sent to prison for years. So Kim Kardashian found out about it and worked super hard, went before the White House and petitioned and fought for Alice to get out of prison. And so she's gotten into that. And you may or may not remember, but Kim Kardashian's father was Robert Kardashian Sr., who was most famous for being a close friend and a member of the Dream Team who got O.J. Simpson, was on his trial and got him off of that whole situation.
Because he was innocent.
So yeah, I don't know. I watched the whole documentary on that. That's a hot mess. I don't know. I don't know if he actually killed her.
Oh, let me
but I
tell
don't know
you
if he's
something.
innocent.
I remember the Dream Team, and I was a stay-at-home mom at the time, and I remember I never missed anything that came across the TV on that whole trial. I watched every.
Oh, it was crazy.
It. Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. But Kim Kardashian, she obviously is the owner of Skims, which is the body wear company, and also Skin, her skincare line. Yeah. And I did a little research because we want to come to y'all with facts. I did a little did some research, and the evaluation of her Skims company is $4 billion. Estimated at $4 billion, which makes her net worth approximately $1.7 billion.
Can you imagine?
No, I cannot. I will tell you this.
Try to imagine.
I would be an amazing millionaire. I would be a fabulous millionaire. I can just imagine shopping and having all the beautiful things and the home and the cars, and I just would be an amazing millionaire. I'm just telling you.
Absolutely. You would call me up and be like, hey,
girl,
come meet me at the airport because we're fixing to fly somewhere in my private jet.
Period. But, she's worked very hard to build her empire, and I think she got a bad rap when the sex tape came out, and that came out, I think, in 2007, right before they started Keeping Up with the Kardashian reality TV show, which made them millionaires even more. But they come from money to begin with. But with her dad being an attorney, her having the business smarts that she has with her companies and making them super successful, no doubt in my mind, she will do the exact same thing as an attorney.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All
but
right,
I would
y'all.
let her represent me.
Yeah, I would too, 100%.
As long as it was in her realm.
Yeah.
But I'm not ever going to be a criminal. That's not in my.
So, all right, y'all. So that was our first episode of Both Sides of the Front Porch. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I really had a good time. Learned some things from you.
Definitely.
I think that the goal is a lot of people grow up feeling like outsiders and like they don't fit or like nobody understands them. Right. But if this podcast proves anything, it's that life gets better and sometimes it gets way funnier.
Yes, much funnier.
Absolutely.
Especially when you have a friend like me. Hi.
Right. Well, next episode, we're going to dive deeper, laugh harder, and say things people probably are scared to talk about.
Yeah.
All right. It's
real talk, y'all.